This program is a presentation of University of California Television. Your support makes UCTV's programming possible. Contribute online at uctv.tv/support. Check out our YouTube original channel, UCTV Prime, at youtube.com/UCTV Prime. Subscribe today to get new programs every week.
UCLA is a university with unlimited possibilities for students that desire world-class academics and research, unmatched diversity, incredible cultural and social opportunities, successful alumni and career networking, first-class campus facilities, plus America's top intercollegiate sports teams. Located in Westwood, just a few miles from the Pacific Ocean, UCLA's 1 square mile campus is surrounded by famous cities such as Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Brentwood, and Santa Monica.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Westwood. It's time for another edition of UCLA Bruin Talk. As always, I'm joined by Allison Taylor. I'm Dave Marcus. Exciting things happening on the Westwood campus as we talk about what's going on now and take a look into the future. We'll do that in just a few moments.
Before we meet our first guest, let's take a look at the upcoming events.
UCLA basketball has always had a special place in the national consciousness, and the Bruins are right back on top of the discussion, signing the #1 recruiting class in the country. UCLA moves back into Pauley Pavilion in the fall, and everything is looking good for the Bruins. And one of the architects of signing that class is with us, assistant coach Corey McRae. First of all, Coach, congratulations on landing the big fish.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. We're very excited about those guys coming to Westwood, and we can't wait to get them on campus this summer.
They are talented. Shabazz Muhammad, Kyle Anderson, Jordan Adams, and Tony Parker. #1 class in the country. Coming off a year that wasn't as fun as a lot of people would have hoped, you got to feel good about going forward.
Oh, definitely. We had a tough season this season, so we needed to bring in a great class, and we did that, and we're just excited. And again, we can't wait to get them here this summer so we can get better, get in the gym, and just try to win a lot more games this year.
You've had a good coaching resume. You've coached as an assistant at Mercer, graduate assistant at Florida State, also involved heavily in AAU over in Atlanta, and known as a real good skills development coach. And all those things came into play when you started recruiting this class.
Oh yes, definitely. Definitely with the guys from the South, with Jordan and Tony. I've coached Jordan since he was like 12, 13 years old, and I had a chance, the opportunity to work Tony out while I was in Atlanta, and he has great work ethic, and we just can't wait to get them on campus.
Continuing on with the outstanding recruiting class, you've mentioned that you bring the athletes in the summertime before the regular student body gets here in the end of September. for regular school. How important do you think it is for these guys to kind of get their feet wet in their collegiate experience before having the mad dash of the students come back?
Oh, I think it's important. They get to take summer classes so they can become a college student, and they also get to work out with our strength and condition coach, and they can get in the gym. And as you know, a lot of pro guys come and work out during the summer, so they have the opportunity to work out with people they looked up to their whole lives. So I think it's just great for everybody.
We talked about your skills development coaching, and Tony Parker was a kid you coached individually, skills development, but he wasn't on your AAU team. How'd you land him to come join you here at UCLA?
Yeah, that's correct, and that's what makes Tony extremely special to me, is the fact that he played for another AAU program in the state of Georgia that is extremely successful as well. But you know, we just grinded it out. He liked UCLA. He liked the guys that was coming, and I think all those had a factor in him coming here. Also, you know, when you talk about UCLA and you talk about this recruiting class, you always got to look back and just the greatness that came before you here at UCLA. I mean, John Wooden built a legacy here, and you know, that's always helped, you know, the current staff and anybody who recruits at UCLA in any sport about our tradition because of our history.
You came and joined Ben Howland a year ago as an assistant. How did you get to know the Bruin head coach? How did you end up in Westwood?
Well, it started with the summer team that I was coaching. I asked those guys, you know, what schools did they have, you know, what they want to go to college to. And, you know, a few of them said UCLA. So, you know, a couple of them said Georgia Tech, Georgia, Memphis. So, you know, I got active and called the coaches up and, you know, set up meetings to meet with the coaches. I met with Coach Howland, and Coach Howland, you know, asked me what my interests were. And I told him eventually I want to get back into college coaching, and we just developed a relationship. And when he had an opening, he gave me the opportunity to interview, and I'm very thankful that I'm here.
Now, you played collegiate basketball at Mercer, and then something I think is very interesting is you went on to get your master's in adult education at Florida State. How do you think gaining that extra knowledge about adult education has helped you mature your young athletes?
Well, that you always gotta, I don't care how old you get in life, you always need to learn more. You always need to get better, and that's just like in sports. You know, the guys that are coming here are successful. And they played at great programs, but we want to get them even better so they can reach their dreams once they leave UCLA.
There's so much pressure for immediate results when you have highly recruited freshmen. Shabazz Muhammad, top recruit in the country, coming here. The pressure to develop a team and develop skills and develop camaraderie is just magnified when you've got 4 top recruits coming in, joining a pretty sound roster that's already here. That's going to be an interesting process, trying to get those guys integrated into the overall program.
Oh yeah, I totally agree, and it's not easy. But you know, when you come to UCLA, the expectations is for you to win. And the expectations is for you to bring in the #1 recruiting class, and that's just part of the job here at UCLA. So that comes with the territory. We're happy to be here. We're thankful to be here. We're thankful for the guys that are coming in, and that's part of our jobs, to get them to come together, like that Kentucky team did this year. Come together as a team to sacrifice and to win. And when we're doing all those things, everybody's going to look good.
How much is the success of Kentucky this year? How much has that changed the game?
You would think that, you know, Coach was close the last few years. Calipari was close the last few years. He's been bringing in the #1 class for the last, you know, 4 or 5 years. You would think that he was going to win one soon. And so he got him one this year, and hopefully we can go to Atlanta, back to Atlanta for the Final Four and get us one as well.
Well, I look at Kentucky, you know, he had the one guy who was like the head of the class every time, John Wall, who's somebody you know pretty well. But this time he signed a class of 4 or 5 guys. I see UCLA in the same position. You had Kevin Love coming in here, Jordan Farmar, always the one guy at the head of the class. But this time you brought in a whole team. Yeah,
I think what makes us different, and also what makes us special, is that we got a lot of good guys coming back. I mean, from Tyler Lamb to the Wares to Josh to Norman, we have a good group of guys.
Larry Drew eligible.
Larry Drew eligible. I'm excited about that. His speed and his quickness. We got a good group coming back with the new guys. If we can just come together as a team, and like Coach always say, stay together, we're going to have a great year this year.
Along with the excitement of the recruiting class is also the excitement of Pauley Pavilion reopening in the fall. How excited is the team about that? I'm sure it has to be motivating for the coaches as well as the players to get back into your home arena in front of your home fans and have them there for every game.
Oh, and just like the freshmen, it's going to be my first time in Pauley Pavilion with the men's basketball team. So I'm super excited. Nothing better than playing at your home facility instead of, you know, riding here or going there for a game that's supposed to be home, but is really a neutral court. So we're all excited about being back in Pauley.
Coach, you mentioned about the greatness of UCLA and how that's known. And those of us that are from here are pretty spoiled.
Right.
You know, growing up with John Wooden coaching the UCLA Bruins, we knew what UCLA was. But from a national perspective, how much does a 17-year-old kid in Georgia know about the tradition and legacy of John Wooden in UCLA?
Well, you know, surprisingly, I think, you know, even coming from, you know, from the South, you know, I've heard stories and stories of the greats that came through UCLA. And then, you know, as a coach here, you see it on the wall every day you walk in. And then the Hall of Fame is right up under our offices. And any guy, any kid, any young man that we bring in for a tour, that's one of the first places we go, is the Hall of Fame, the tradition, the history of the program, because that's really important. They need to know what they're getting themselves into and the expectations that come with that. Because it's high standards here, both on the court and as character, you know, as young men, to have good character here at UCLA. So we take that very serious, and that's one of the things that I wanted to pride myself into, is to recruit good character young men to represent UCLA really well.
I remember my first time in Pauley Pavilion, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, Kareem walked right here. I was such a big basketball fan, I loved it. Entering the end of your first season here at UCLA, what do you think has been the biggest thing that you've learned this season being with such a historic program like UCLA?
I would say one of the biggest things that I've learned was that the media here, they're intense. And when things are not going well, they're gonna let you know things are not going well. And the media market is huge there. But on the flip side of that, we get this thing turned around and we get back to, you know, the Final Fours, and hopefully, you know, the goal is to win the national championship. You know, the media will be, you know, great and report great things about us as well. And so that's one of the things that I've learned really quickly being here in Los Angeles.
Sometimes the bad news is there are very high expectations, but sometimes the good news is there are very high expectations.
Right.
People expect UCLA to be on top.
Right. And you kind of know that, because you know that what John Wooden has done and all the greats that's been here and all the national championships and all the sports here at UCLA, not just basketball, that you're at a school of excellence, and that, you know, we need to be at a high level, and we need to perform and coach and carry ourselves that way. And so that's extremely important to our staff, and that's extremely important to the people we bring into the program.
It might be a bit early to talk X's and O's. Ben Howland's reputation over the years has been a great teacher, great coach to prepare players for playing in the NBA, but an emphasis on defense. You get 4 freshmen in here with expectations. You can't put all the emphasis on defense. What kind of offensive attack can we expect to see from the Bruins? Well,
I mean, hopefully, you know, we play together. We're unselfish. We take good shots. We have probably more depth, so, you know, we probably can go up and down, you know, much more, and just, you know, just be unselfish. And I think that's going to be the most important thing, that the better the team plays, the better everybody looks individually. So.
I got to ask you a little bit about the signing process, because it's become quite an extravaganza. Shabazz, you know, that was not very dramatic. Everybody knew he was coming to UCLA, but Tony Parker, that went on for a long time. He's got the hats, he's got the T-shirt. Did you know for certain that he was going to pull out the UCLA hat and stick it on his head?
You never know for certain till you get the facts. Even when he opened up his shirt and it said UCLA, I was still on pins and needles till we got the facts with the signature. And even with Shabazz, I mean, you know, it went down to the wire. We didn't know if it was Kentucky. We didn't know if it was Duke. And we were extremely excited when we got his facts as well. So that's when you relax a little bit. Even after you get the cameras on him and he says UCLA, until you get the facts, that's when you really feel comfortable.
There's a couple of Coach Corey's here that had Florida State ties. You and Corey Close, who's the head coach of the women's team. And there's some talk about the men's team and the women's team maybe traveling to a road game, playing in a doubleheader next year. How important is it for both programs to do well?
Oh, well, like I said earlier, when you talk about UCLA, it's more than men's basketball. We're good in all kinds of sports, from gymnastics to track and field to volleyball, winning the national championship. We're just so good all around the board, and so it's really important that all the programs do well here at UCLA.
Well, Coach, once again, congratulations on outstanding job on the recruiting class, and best of luck to you and the Bruins going forward next year.
Thanks a lot.
Can't wait for it to start.
Thanks.
And we'll come right back with more Bruin Talk after this public service announcement.
A trophy can be made just about anywhere. But there's one place where champions are made. UCLA, champions made here.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to Bruin Talk. It is now time to honor our Student Athlete of the Week. This week we honor Alec Faldermeyer of the men's track and field team as our Student Athlete of the Week. This week he was named Pac-12 Player of the Week after performing exceptionally against number 6 ranked USC, 93-70. Alec started the Bruins off in the win column with his victory in the hammer, 210-7. With this win, Alec ends the 2012 season undefeated in Drake Stadium. Faldermeyer is a sophomore from New Hampton, New York. Congratulations, Alec, and good luck with the rest of the season. If you would like additional information about UCLA athletics, please visit our website at uclabruins.com.
And we are pleased to be joined by a couple of gentlemen that know exactly what it's like to beat SC. Earlier this year, they won 4-3, snapping a 45-match win streak for the Trojans. Getting ready to host the regionals May 12th at the LA Tennis Center. From the UCLA tennis team, we're pleased to be joined by Nick Meister and Marcus Harron. Gentlemen, welcome to Bruin Talk.
Thank you.
We've really got the bookends here. Nick, the redshirt senior, Marcus, the freshman. Pretty interesting mix of players on this team.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely an interesting mix with guys that are from out of the country, France, Germany, Brazil, and then also some local guys from Southern California like Nick, Clay, myself, Warren, Dennis, McCurcheon, and Warren Hardy, Alex Brigham. It's an interesting group of guys.
Nick, tell us about that win over USC. That was a great day for UCLA tennis.
Oh yeah, it was great. Well, we started off pretty slow in the doubles, and beating they're the #1 team in the country. So having to come back and win the match by winning 4 singles was, it seemed insurmountable. But we kind of stuck through it. It wasn't looking that great for a while. I think on the 4, 5, and 6, we all lost, or 2 of the guys lost first sets, and then. When I won my singles match, things really started to fall into place, and I look up on the scoreboard and we're up breaks on all 3 of the backcourts, and it looks like we're going to do it. So, when Adrian finally won the match, it just seemed unreal.
When you're in the middle of the match, you're playing, you're locked into your match. Do you have any idea what's going on the other courts?
Oh yeah, totally. Our coach doesn't really want us to look at the scoreboard. He tells us to focus on the court, but I don't know. I always find it I just need to know sometimes, what's going on, and it'll usually help me, motivate me if I know I have to win, that kind of thing.
Marcus, how about you? Do you want to know what's going on in the other courts, or do you want to just lock in on your match?
I want to know what's going on in the courts, but I know if I'm looking at the scores, I'm not completely focused on my match, which might hurt my my ability on the court. And so there's times where I look up to see how my other guys are doing, but in turn I sometimes lose focus because of it. And I try to focus as much as I can on my match because I want to, if I win my match, it can also boost the confidence of other guys.
Luckily you're a freshman, so you have some time to work on that, right?
Yeah.
I want to go back to your mentioning earlier of the kind of eclectic mix of the guys on the team. How do you guys make that work? How do you get along with guys from halfway across the world? Obviously there are differences, background differences, I'm sure religious differences. How does that work on a team?
Well, I mean, there's, you know, everybody plays tennis, so we all have that in common. You know, like during the Grand Slams and whatnot, we all kind of like join around to talk about like the latest like tennis news, I guess. And so, like obviously that's what brings us together. And when you see each other every day at weights and at practice, you just develop those bonds that you like your team, and like you kind of forget about where the person's from, like that kind of stuff.
Marcus, this past quarter, you made Director's Honor Roll. Congratulations. In your freshman year here at UCLA, I'm sure it's been a big change from high school tennis. How have you maintained your grade point average as well as being successful on the court?
Well, it's just being really focused and getting your priorities straight, making sure that you're efficient with your time, and when you're done with practice, make sure you go try to finish, do all the work you need to do for school and study when you have the time, and go hang out with friends later. It's tough, but if you really want to be successful as a tennis player and also as a student, you need to have your priorities straight.
Your coach, Billy Martin, was a great star here at UCLA. How important is it that Bruin pedigree has made its way now into the coaching staff, and the fact that your coach has been in the position you guys are in now?
It's great because he's obviously knows what it's like to be in those positions, and he's telling you from past experiences how to act and like what to expect when you're in those situations, because it's not always easy when you're playing SC for the first time, and when they have won 45 matches in a row going into the match, you might be the underdog, but it's really important to believe that you can still win, and he just has all this experience to pass down to the younger generation of players.
Nick, I'm trying to think. Jim Courier, I know, had a beard for a while. I'm not sure I've seen a beard on the Pro Tour as long as how long have you been playing with a beard?
Since January 20th.
And is there a particular reason for it?
I mean, in the fall last year, another teammate of ours, Clay Thompson, he's also grown a beard, and during the fall, his was pretty monstrous, and it just came about like, hey, dude, you think it'd be funny to grow a beard for the season? And he's like, yeah. Okay.
Well, you're going to look at that and you're going to say, I know that was my senior year.
Yeah. I mean, it's something to remember it by.
We talked about the regionals coming up, and they're going to be on campus at the LA Tennis Center. How important is that to be playing at home?
Oh, it's way better. I'd much rather play at home than travel to another site. And then once you travel there, you got to travel back home and then leave a couple days later for Georgia. So it makes just the whole beginning process of NCAA is that much easier.
Marcus, you play in the same dimension court no matter where you are. What's so special about playing at the LA Tennis Center?
Well, it's really the home atmosphere, used to the courts, because every court is a little bit different, and it's something else when you get used to a certain speed of the court, and also the environment. Because everywhere that you go has a different environment with the crowd, and it's nice when you feel comfortable in a situation. It's I think also like maybe another team that comes from another country might be a little disoriented with what's going on with the traveling, and it makes life a lot easier. And also you get to sleep in your own bed at night, and just all these things that come together. It just, I find it very advantageous to play at home.
Now here, especially this time of year, the air can be a little heavy compared to some of the places that you play. Does that actually make a difference in how the points get played out?
Yeah, for sure. When it's a little more dense, it's harder to hit winners and have to work a little harder, sweat a little bit more to win each point. But in Georgia or where it's just really hot, like it's thinner, so you can hit the ball harder and it goes faster, so the points are shorter. But I mean, it is more humid there, so you do have to work.
Before we went on the air, we were chatting with Allison, who of course was a star gymnast at UCLA, and talking about the process of judging in gymnastics meets as opposed to tennis. Doesn't matter what you look like, just got to get it in the court.
Yeah.
I mean, do you pay attention to your form or what you look like, or are you just trying to hit the winners?
I mean, as you can see, I really don't care that much about my appearance. I mean, no, just no.
Marcus, who were your influences as you grew up in the tennis world?
When I was younger, I was always watching Pete Sampras and Agassi and Roger Federer growing up, and seeing those guys out there really made me want to play in tennis, even though my game may not necessarily, I might not play like any of them. I still always looked up to them. So, I don't know, those were the guys that I really followed growing up.
Well, it's got to be a thrill when the Pro Tour comes to UCLA in the summer and you see guys playing on your court.
Because like all the guys come, like not just the guys that play the tournament, but before Indian Wells, like Djokovic came by and he practiced with a couple of our teammates. Like James Blake, the Williams sisters are always around. Federer was even here. You know, Pete Sampras is always at the courts. I just saw him the other day. So like it's cool to see like the top guys just cruising in for a little practice session in Court 1.
For both of you, I'm sure you both have professional aspirations. Nick, you're a little bit closer to getting there since you're only a freshman. You got a ways to go. But do you have professional aspirations after you get your degree this spring?
Yeah, definitely. I'm already officially done with school, so I'm already starting to think about it, planning my schedule and whatnot once I'm done with Georgia, and got my schedule set out for the summer.
You've both had to battle through injuries, Nick to a hip, Marcus to a wrist. What is the process of coming back from an injury? How did that actually help you develop your game?
For me, because the coming back from the hip surgery, I had to take at least like 4 to 5 months off. It was like there was a couple things that I wanted to tweak in my game, and since tennis is so much about like muscle memory, and I mean every sport is, I wanted to change my form on a couple of shots. And then when I came back and started practicing after the surgery, I was able to hit the shots the way I wanted to, and change my technique a little bit. So it really helped me. And like also I coached the guys last year, so it was good to get like a different perspective.
Yeah. Being here for your time at UCLA, you came out of high school, hotshot tennis player. After being here for your time, how has your game matured over the experience you've had?
Oh, it's matured a lot. I remember when I was a freshman, I really didn't like trust myself to go for shots. I was always just kind of steady. You know, I could run a lot, and I was always very consistent, but the coaches have really helped me be more aggressive, take my chances when I get them. And I'd say that's the most important thing, like being aggressive and coming to net, really just trying to control the match rather than letting the other guy control the match.
Marcus, you come into UCLA as a freshman. You've got the experience of teammates like Nick to draw upon. How has that helped you here in your first year?
Oh, it's a tremendous advantage having a guy like Nick on the team showing freshmen like myself how things work at UCLA, and really fitting in time, because it's a lot of work UCLA with school and the team and the social life. And so really focusing on how to set up every day, practice hard, and it's great drawing from people like Nick.
Nick, is it too early for you to look back at some of the more memorable moments of your Bruin career?
Well, my freshman year, we beat SC at SC to win the Pac-10. That was pretty memorable. My sophomore year, we played Ole Miss in the quarterfinals. They were the 2 seed, and it was just like an epic match. And let's see what else. My junior year, we also beat SC at SC to just like right before they won it. But those would probably be like the 3 that stand out the most to me.
Coming out and see the Bruins at the LA Tennis Center for the NCAA Regionals coming up in just a couple of weeks. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Best of luck in the upcoming tournament.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on UCLA Bruin Talk. Allison and I will be back next time for another great show. Until then, so long from Westwood.